Welcome back to Klepper's Corner, the only show that dares to ask, what fresh dumpster fire did Trump light today? And who gave him the matches? Yes, we're broadcasting straight from the beating heart of Trump Merica, a place where immigrants are banned, the National Guard moonlights as event security, and the Constitution is treated more like a flexible suggestion than a foundational document. Tonight's show has everything: a new and improved travel ban, yoga moms clashing with soldiers, HBO split itself like a confused Gemini, and Apple unveiling software so advanced it might actually ghost your toxic ex for you. No, and Texas is underwater again. Let's dive in before another executive order drops mid-sentence. Segment 1, travel ban expansion, the return of extreme vetting to electric boogaloo. Well, folks, it's official. The Trump travel ban has returned. Bigger, bolder, and with more xenophobia than ever before. This time it covers not just majority Muslim countries, but 12 countries in total. Because if there's one thing Trump's second term proves, it's that America is once again great at banning people who never wanted to come here in the first place. Now, to be fair, Trump did say he was going to put America first. He just forgot to tell everyone else they'd be permanently stuck in the waiting room of a broken DMV run by Stephen Miller. The ban includes countries like Nigeria, Venezuela, and Myanmar. Because if there's one thing that screams national security threat, it's a guy from Caracas trying to start a food truck in Queens. And of course, he justified it all by saying, "We're doing it for security. Tremendous security. The best security. People are saying it's incredible security." Yes, people, like the voices in his head or the guy on Truth Social named @PatriotEagle1776, who's just Mike Lindell with a VPN. Segment 2, Los Angeles immigration protests. National Guard versus yoga moms. In response to this travel ban and immigration crackdown, Los Angeles has erupted, and not in the usual TMZ way. This time it's thousands of people flooding the streets in protest, blocking freeways and waving signs like it's Coachella, but with fewer influencers and more moral clarity. And in classic Trump fashion, what does he do? He sends in the National Guard. Because nothing calms things down like Humvees parked outside a taco truck. California's Governor Gavin Newsom immediately filed a lawsuit against the deployment, which is a bold move considering he's still trying to finish reading the last one from when Trump sued him for using too much hair product. Let's be clear, the protest was peaceful until someone yelled alarmed ICE raid, and a group of agents popped out of a manhole cover like it was whack-a-mole for civil rights. Segment 3, Warner Brothers Discovery split, HBO Max now with maximum confusion. In business news, Warner Brothers Discovery has decided that one confusing streaming platform wasn't enough, so now they're splitting into two. One company will focus on streaming and studios, and the other will handle cable networks. It's a corporate divorce, but instead of deciding who gets the kids, they're fighting over who has to keep CNN. This marks the 473rd time Warner Brothers has rebranded since the dawn of HBO Max, which, let's not forget, was originally HBO Now, then HBO Go, then HBO Max, and then just Max. If they keep this up, the next iteration will just be called We Give Up. And apparently, HBO, DC Comics, and Warner Brothers Film and TV are now one big happy content family. Unless you count the Snyder fans, who are always one trailer away from starting a cult. Segment 4, U.S.-China trade talks, from tariffs to teriyaki. This week, America and China resumed trade talks. Again. Yes, we've entered trade negotiation, the never-ending sequel. A story about two global superpowers who just can't quit each other, no matter how many tariffs they throw. Wall Street barely blinked. Because at this point, U.S.-China trade tension is like your uncle's third divorce. We've seen it before, we know how it ends, and someone's probably going to lose a house. The Chinese stock market rallied on news of the talks resuming, while the American market responded like it always does, predictably with cautious optimism and $1 billion stock buyback from Apple. Let's hope this time the negotiations result in something more tangible than a bunch of vague promises and a dinner photo op over Peking duck. Segment 5. Apple's WWDC, the ghost of Steve Jobs, has entered the chat. Over in Techland, Apple's annual developer conference, WWDC 2025, kicked off with what can only be described as a religious ceremony for nerds. Apple announced iOS 26, featuring a new liquid glass design language, proving that even your phone wants to look like a high-end cocktail menu now. Also announced macOS Tahoe, because nothing says innovation like naming your software after the place your richest friend pretends to ski. And yes, Apple is going all in on AI. They've even integrated ChatGPT, meaning now, when your iPhone autocorrects ducking, it'll do so with existential dread and a philosophical monologue. In a surprise move, Apple also unveiled AI tools designed to improve user experience, which means your phone can now finish your text, draft your email, and eventually ghost your ex for you. Efficiency. Segment 6, at-home medical tests, from COVID to cervix. In health news, the FDA just approved the first at-home cervical cancer test. That's right, your bathroom is now a lab, a clinic, and probably still the only room where you get any peace. This is part of a growing wave of self-administered diagnostic tools, meaning Americans are now taking medical care into their own hands, mostly because they can't afford to take it anywhere else. Experts say these tests are useful, but not a substitute for professional care. Translation, if your cancer diagnosis came with a coupon code, maybe go see a real doctor. Let's just hope the tests are more accurate than the last at-home thing we all tried: sourdough starters and pandemic bangs. Segment 7, Texas storms, the Lone Star Soaker. And finally, Texas got hit with another round of severe storms last night, flooding neighborhoods, downing power lines, and reminding everyone that yes, the weather is still trying to kill us. Dozens of counties are under flood warnings, and emergency crews are working around the clock. Meanwhile, Greg Abbott issued a statement that said, "Thoughts and prayers," which in Texas is basically a weather forecast. Residents have been told to stay indoors, charge their phones, and avoid driving through water, which, based on local footage, is apparently considered a recreational sport. And if you're wondering whether climate change had anything to do with it, congratulations, you are now banned from Texas barbecue. That's all for today's edition of Klepper's Corner, the only news show brave enough to say what we're all thinking. Wait, we're doing this again? From travel bans to streaming rebrands, from AI in your iPhone to ice in your driveway, remember, reality may be stranger than fiction, but satire? That's just the news with better punchlines. I'm out. See you next time in Trump Merica, where the Constitution is optional, but the chaos is mandatory.